We're going to talk about the video cipher. Many of us have that as a favorite subject we talk about regularly. The video cipher today is going to be replaced by the VC2 Plus, which is called the red board or the blue board. Many of you know that by now. You've been reading in some of the guides in the marketplace that they're going to be shutting off the data stream for the old board, and I'm sure many of you don't know what that means. Well, the way these boards get turned on and off is from what's called a data stream. The data is sent down with the video picture, and it tells the board to turn on. Now, some of you know by now that the data stream is virtually the same on all transponders. It doesn't, and very few exceptions. On one exception, I understand there is a slightly different data stream. But as far as I know, all the data streams are the same. In other words, if you're looking at G1 or G5, 15 or whatever, you're getting the same data stream for the data that turns these on and off as you would be getting if you were up on F4 watching one of the sports networks. Same data. That's why it doesn't matter where you are when you're watching or want to hit to turn on your video cipher. In other words, if you got a new board or an old board and you're waiting for your video cipher to be turned on, it doesn't matter what scrambled channel you're on, provided you're on a scrambled channel. Well, because that is the case, GI has been playing around a lot with shutting boards off, because as long as you're watching a video cipher channel, the data stream, no matter where you're watching, what you're authorized for or not authorized for, they can shut you off. Now, the common way they've been shutting off boards, I'm sure some of you know that listen to the show on a regular basis, is that they turn you off for programming you're supposed to be watching or paying to watch, and they turn you on for programming you're not paying to watch. Now, the technology that would utilize that in a pirate form is called the Three Musketeers chip. And there are many, many of them out there. There's also many clone chips that are actually Three Musketeer chips as well. And the trouble with this technology, this is the pirate technology we're referring to, is that if this happens to the number that you're running on, then you are going to get shut down. And GI has been experimenting heavily with the 77 type service boards, which are known as the small 032 boards, the little gray boards. They're not small in the outside cage, but the inner cage or the board itself is actually smaller on the 032 boards. Okay, so GI's up there playing around and shutting off boards like crazy. Why? Number one, they're worried about competition possibly entering the marketplace because there's all this talk about Titan, so they want to rush and start turning off all the old boards, forcing many of you to buy new boards. That's number one. Number two, they want to show the programmers that they can control the situation, so they're really out there trying to show that they've got muscle and they can shut these things down, and they see that there's a higher rate of authorization right now, so they think it's going well for them. And there are some of the basic reasons. GI stands to make $1.2 billion, that's with a B, not with an M, billion dollars by the shutdown. Now, all of you know my position on this, if you watch this show, is that it's going to be very hard for them to shut off wizard technology. It's probably going to, their wizard technology will probably run for another year. Now, what is wizard technology? Wizard technology is right now, every month, you have to go in and load numbers into the front of your video cipher or into your remote control if you have one, and turn on your video cipher in this form. Now, the trouble with that, of course, is that it's expensive. So often you have to pay for the wizard numbers. The other trouble you need to consider if you're running wizard technology and you think you have the system beat for the next year is that remember that more than likely GI will elect to shut off or turn the commercial decoders on and off on a weekly basis and not a monthly basis. That means that those of you that are running wizard codes from commercial decoders, which almost everybody will have to run on when they shut the data stream off. When they shut the data stream off for this, they still have hundreds of thousands of commercial boxes in the marketplace. But all those boxes are looking at the same channel all the time. They don't move. Now, this is very important because that gives GI the capability of just sending on data codes to turn on that one channel because it's always looking at the same channel. Furthermore, and that's why you have these 80 bank wizard numbers coming out, furthermore, they can turn them off on a weekly basis and not a monthly basis. So every month or every week now, if that's what they do, you're going to have to go out and reload your board every week. Now that can become a real problem. If you're calling up some of those 900 numbers like 288 code or summons or any of those 900 numbers, then you know full well that it's expensive to call these services to get authorized. There's also some 800 numbers that are going to be working with some sort of data bank that you're going to pay on a yearly basis. Those too will become expensive or overcrowded on a weekly basis anyway, believe me. if they're running a weekly number and they got a couple thousand people calling in to get numbers, you're never going to get through to get your number. So there's truly a problem in the marketplace. You have to consider it, and you have to move forward now and recognize that more than likely it would be a good time at this juncture to trade out your old board. Number one reason is there's still some old value to your old board. Your old board, even though it may be chipped, still has some value to it. 57, I guess, 58. That's fantastic. It's fantastic. Oh, okay. We're going to do arms now. We're going to do... Just put that down, lady. I'm sure it will fit. It will fit, dear. Just stop whining and put it there. Can I have my arms, please? Thank you. I knew you could do it. Do the boots to me. Well, hand me the boots, and I will. We have boots. For those of you that don't know it, winter is coming. This is the time, which happens to also come with hidden signals. It's $399. Elsewhere, as you probably know by now, it costs a lot more in most other markets around that are up here in shopping shows, but our price is an incredible $399. It includes hidden signals at that price. It's another $17 value you're getting free of charge when you get the universal SCPC radio. Now this unit is different than a teletext. This you listen to. The teletext you read. This baby you listen to. And you listen to sports, you listen to news, you listen to radio. Oh yeah, Rush Limbaugh. We have a very controversial, those of you in, I believe, Cleveland and Dallas and LA now have got him as well, Howard Stern in Washington, D.C. and Philly. But he's extremely controversial. I believe, for those of you that probably don't like Howard, and you probably saw him on WWR, which was on WOR, the Channel 9 here in New York, but he was also on satellite on Saturday nights. He's a little hard to take by some of you, but if you think about it, Howard, I believe, is an important entity in the medium of communication, in that he stretches the line of what is permissible. And without him, I would think that most people would be too intimidated to go that far, and consequently, we would be back to having very restrained audio and actual probably video as well. The one thing that Howard has done is he's forced the FCC to look at what's permissible, and I hope that they find that if everybody else follows Howard's lead, then they won't be able to close the airways down, because there is this tremendous movement in this country to become quite a bit more restrained. Now, some of you would agree that that's a good idea, but with any restraint comes a problem for people's First Amendment, and we really don't want to have a First Amendment problem in this country, because that's the beginning of the end, and I don't think any of us would like to see that. Therefore, the idea that Howard has kept that freedom of speech alive is very important. So you should listen to him. He's worth listening to. He's on from 6 in the morning till about 11 in the morning, and you can find him on SCPC radio. Yeah, he's very, very crass. But, as I say, he keeps the First Amendment alive for you, and for that reason he's important. All right, there's $3.99. Now, there's lots of other people